All right, now I'm going to tour you through some of my favorite new and revised keyboard shortcuts. And we'll be jumping around a little bit because I want you to understand my reasoning. So here I am on page 2 of the documentation for the default PC shortcuts. We're looking at Control Shift plus letter. That would be Command Shift plus a letter on a Mac. So we've got B assigned to auto color. That's no good. L assigned to auto tone, not something I'm going to use on a regular basis. We have O assigned to browse and bridge. Now, of course, being able to access the bridge is really great. However, this is a duplicate shortcut. Notice if I advance to the next page that the main shortcut for browse and bridge is Control-Alt-O here on the PC. That would be Command-Option-O on the Mac. And so we do not need a duplicate shortcut. And then if we scroll down here, you can see that P and Q are available where Control-Shift or Command-Shift are concerned. I took desaturate away from Control-Shift-U and put it someplace else. Same with paste in place. I like both of these commands. I use them on a regular basis, but these shortcuts right here, I wanted to assign instead to adjustment layers. So here we are looking at the D keys document, and you can see that much of what I did with Control-Shift letter combinations is creating adjustment layers, as we're seeing right here, all the way down to U and V, both of which are assigned to hue saturation and vibrance, respectively. And then I went ahead and moved paste in place to Control-Alt-V. That's going to be Command-Option-V on the Mac. And I moved the desaturate command to Control-Shift-Alt-U. That's Command-Shift-Option-U on the Mac. Because after all, it is a destructive modification. It goes ahead and permanently changes all your pixels to grayscale. All right, next, if we switch back to Control-Shift or Command-Shift letter, we've got O for the blending options. So that's going to bring up the big layer-style dialog box. P, I've now assigned to the preset manager. And if I bring up Photoshop, I'll show you what that looks like. If I were to go up to the edit menu and then drop down to this guy right here, presets, and then choose preset manager, that's the command we're talking about. So much easier to get to it by pressing Control-Shift-P or Command-Shift-P on the Mac. And that way you can organize your custom brushes, your gradients, your patterns, and so forth. So this is a command that I'm perpetually using in order to clean up garbage and move things around and so forth. All right, so I'll just go ahead and click Done in order to exit this dialog box and switch back to Acrobat. And now I'll advance to the Control-Alt or Command-Option letter combinations. B is going to bring up the last settings for the black and white command. That's just something that Photoshop does automatically by virtue of the fact that I assign Control-B or Command-B to the black and white command. We discussed how Control-Alt-D or Command-Option-D is going to invoke the place embedded command, Control-Alt-F or Command-Option-F. Thanks to the fact that I sent Control or Command-F back to the last filter, now with the Alt key down, we're going to bring up a dialog box complete with the last settings. Control-Alt or Command-Option-H is going to flip the view horizontally. It's not going to flip the image, just your view. And then if you want to flip it back, you just go ahead and press that keyboard shortcut again. All right, now I'm going to advance down to this region right here. And I want to show you what's going on in the defaults. I'll go ahead and switch to the third page so that we can see it. So notice that P and Q are available to us. And this is a Q that is harmless, by the way. It's Control-Shift-Q or Command-Shift-Q that's going to log you out on the Mac. Control-Alt or Command-Option-Q, not going to do a darn thing. So those are available to us. Control-Alt-V or Command-Option-V for vanishing point. That command just does not need a keyboard shortcut. And then Control-Alt or Command-Option-Y is available. Remember, by the way, we've got this asterisk next to the Select and Mask command, and that's because if you press the Shift key and choose Select and Mask, then you're going to bring up the Legacy Refine Edge dialog box, which is so good. Anyway, I'm going to switch back to my D keys document right here. Scroll down a little bit as well, so you can see what I decided to do with these keys. Control-Alt or Command-Option-P is going to delete the layer mask assigned to the active layer. And my reasoning there is P is for poof, because it's disappearing. And that way I could assign Q, so Control-Alt or Command-Option-Q, to the next kind of mask that you see inside the Layers dialog box, which is the filter mask that Photoshop auto-assigns to smart objects. We discussed how paste in place is now Control-Alt-V or Command-Option-V on the Mac, and then that last open guy, Control-Alt-Y or Command-Option-Y on the Mac, is going to do essentially the opposite of Control-Alt or Command-Option-P. It is going to make a layer mask. That's why I've gone ahead and included this layer mask icon. So that's the Add Layer Mask icon down there at the bottom of the Layers panel. And so for this command to work, you have to have a selection outline. And so you'd want to draw a selection and then press Control-Alt-Y or Command-Option-Y on a Mac in order to convert it to a layer mask. All right, now I'll go and switch back to the defaults again, and I'll advance to page 4. As you can see here, I am not a fan of all the modifier keys along with a letter, at least by default. So we've got some commands available, but we also have just a lot of mess. Control-Shift-Alt-M or Command-Shift-Option-M on the Mac allows you to customize the menus. We're going to see what that looks like in a later movie in this very chapter. You don't need a shortcut for it, however, because all you have to do is press Control-Shift-Alt-K or Command-Shift-Option-K on the Mac. I'll show you what that looks like. I'll go ahead and switch back to Photoshop and press that keyboard shortcut to bring up this dialog box, which goes by the name Keyboard Shortcuts and Menus. So now all you have to do is click on the Menus tab if you want to customize your menus. So again, we don't need an independent shortcut for that. So I went ahead and reassigned that guy. Print one copy. When do you do that in Photoshop? This isn't Microsoft Word, after all. If you're creating a print, you want absolute control over the entire experience. And so if I go ahead and switch over to D keys right here and advance to page 4, you can see that I've done a lot. And a lot of these commands reside in the image menu, by the way. So Control-Shift-Alt or Command-Shift-Option-A is going to reveal everything. So it's going to expand the size of the canvas to include every single pixel on every single layer. B is going to do pretty much the opposite. You're going to trim the canvas around the contents of the layers. C, all the modifier keys in C, is going to bring up the content-aware fill task space, which is one of the new commands I like. D is going to duplicate the image. G is going to bring up color range. So good. H is going to actually flip the image. So it's not flipping the view like Control-Alt or Command-Option-H. It's actually flipping the entire image. All right, now I'll scroll down here so that we can see L is going to take us to calculations. M is going to invoke the similar command, which grows the selection according to the colors inside the image, very much like the magic wand. N is going to either convert the background to an independent layer or convert the selected layer to the background. So that's a toggle. O is going to allow you to open any image file directly as a smart object. So for example, you could open a raw image as a smart object and then edit it inside Camera Raw. P is going to export your artboards, which we'll discuss in a later chapter of this course, to a PDF file, which is in fact how I created this very document. I left Q open because that's another dangerous one. If we switch over to the Macintosh version of the document and I go ahead and advance to page 4 and scroll down, you can see that Command-Shift-Option-Q is going to force you to log out. Very dangerous keyboard shortcut. I do not recommend you press that one, so steer clear of that guy, which is why I left it available here on the PC. We discussed how U is desaturate, Y is going to flip the image for real vertically, and then every time I create these things, somebody asks me to create a shortcut to flatten the image. Now, it used to be F back in the old days, but Photoshop reassigned that to finding layers inside the Layers panel, which is great. I really like that feature. Check it out if you like. So I decided that the last thing you ever want to do is flatten the image, which is why I came up with the shortcut of Control-Shift-Alt-Z or Command-Shift-Option-Z on the Mac. And those are a few of my favorite new and revised keyboard shortcuts. I hope you find them every bit as useful as I do.